My affirmation, this is like my tapestry that I'm building. So tapestries are a representation of you. So for me, it was just kind of like, I need tapestry to really give myself some words of affirmation. So all of these characters on here are just versions of me, but you always have 3 versions of yourself. So your past self, your present self, and your all-around self. It's really more than that, but this is myself, my being, and my ego. We all have that, at least that. Because you can build upon your personality. You can make multiple personalities. That's why that's a disorder. Because literally, you can have multiple personalities. But that's not necessarily normal. I don't have multiple personality disorder. I just like creating characters. But when I was in the middle of my crisis, the thing that I did the most was believe in spectrum. So before we get into spectrum, we're going to talk about Destiny and DA. So Destiny is me, of course, and also DA is me, of course, because those are my names. They just have, but DA doesn't give context to Destiny because Destiny is special. Destiny is who I am regardless of my path. Because literally, she's cool. She's in space already. I want to be an astronaut one day, but I really don't want to be an astronaut. Like DA doesn't want to be an astronaut because DA is nervous about that, right? DA wants to chill out. This is DA. DA is my professional self. So as a professional, I wear my hair nicely. I wear a mask. I wear a tie. If I'm in a good space, I wear a suit, really. And this is my suit, right? So, because it's tacky, we're gonna do green pants. With some orange highlights, but like also being able to do that now. Because really professionalism is about the colors that you use. So like, as a professional, I use good colors. I feel like I do need to get more colors, but like navy is a great base. But basically, navy is a great color when you're talking about like neutrals. Because it is itself a neutral color. So today we're coloring in the project. So I thought that these markers had died on me, and they didn't. They just honestly are weak on the wall. So that's that. Except for we're gonna do orange. Like we're gonna do orange for the jacket, but we're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna do a little highlight of red because that's what I'm wearing in real life in person. The shirt's gonna remain white. I'm really looking for my brown color because I gotta make sure my people are brown. Like Destiny is brown, but she's also in space, so like really she's gray. But like she's still professional. Destiny, DA is brown, she's black, she's insightful, she is who she is. But remember, DA and Destiny are the same person. But in this universe, they talk together because they work together. They're part of a team. Working together just means that you're part of a team, right? Now, granted, these characters are not the same as this character. This is Spectrum. This ain't really Spectrum, this is Spectrum, but this is who oh, I forgot to finish the color. This is who DA becomes. Spectrum is who DA becomes because of this vessel. So, vessels are cool. Vessels are just, really just, it's supposed to be there for you. So, I gotta get a marker out of my bag. So, like, if I finish this like I was supposed to yesterday, I think I can like add a fake one. Because I already kind of designed who I want Spectrum to look like. I just keep drawing reinterpretations of them because they're cool. But they're peaceful. They are a vessel of confusion, but they're not confused. They're trying to figure out other people's problems before their own because they're a deity. Deities want to help you. That's what God is there for. Now me, because I'm trying to make this for everybody, I wasn't trying to include God. But everybody loves God because everybody to some extent believes in a higher power and higher calling. So basically what you do when you're making a vision board, this is my vision board, but it's my character it's my character sheet, because Spectrum is gonna be my character on D&D, because I want to be trickster. This is a ugly thing. So this is trash, but I just threw these away. And I think I can still use at least this, yeah. So if you don't have rubbing alcohol, get some hand sanitizer. It works perfectly. You literally, like, it's the perfect way to make sure these markers stay kind of moist. I think that's the point. You should be able to do that. Basically, Spectrum is a deity of light. The Spectrum really is a superhero. I'll explain more about that in a second. But for right now, all you need to know is that they are a light. So, me as a kid, I had trauma, right? Every kid has trauma. I'm just now realizing it, how bad it was at 22. And so, DA just kind of keeps it all cool. But Destiny be really, DA be freaking out, Destiny be chilling. Because Destiny has been through that trauma. She's a space god, really. She lives in space. That's where she lives. Because she made it out of the world. DA is trying to make it out the world. She's just trying to go out of space. She's trying to travel. She's trying to get out. She can't because she's stuck arguing with Destiny. But it just keeps going back and forth. And finally, Destiny just shuts down. And when part of your team disappears, that's when chaos happens. So for just a day, DA or Destiny disappears from DA, and DA is lost because she's trying to figure out who she is. For a week, she's lost. For a week, she's confused. For a week, she really is just out here trying to make it. And her only solution is to call on her spirit guide, her God, her creator, the giver of life. Who, in my real life, real world, my mom's name is actually the giver of life, but that's not the point. That is the point, actually. But the giver of life is not my mom. It's a character that I designed. It is actually God. But God stands for the giver of deliverance. In this universe, there are 3 deities that overrule everything, and they are altogether God, but it's the triple G. God, the giver of deliverance, the giver of life, and the giver of love. So the giver really just wants to give. He just wants to give. But he can't, because people like DA get lost without their person, right? Without me, right? So through her crisis of being abandoned by her friend, by her mentor, by herself, she relies on the GOD to call on Spectrum, who is in his own right another character. In his own right, a whole other character. But he's not a he, by the way. It's a they, because he's non-binary. Technically speaking, DA Spectrum is too. This is DA Spectrum. This is Spectrum combined to make DA Spectrum, right? So it's gonna look cooler than this, and I'll probably add more this video because I've already designed some things, but there we go. So, DA spectrum, that is such a terrible drawing of spectrum, but that doesn't matter, y'all don't know that. But all in all, these characters above anything are African American. Now keep in mind, Spectrum is an angel. That's the place in the universe, but Spectrum is actually a spirit, right? He's a spirit of confusion. He's not confused though, he's just trying to figure out people's problems. But he can't do that alone. He's really trying to use the DA, but DA is not ready. She has to become Spectrum. She has to become Spectrum. She has to go to him. She has to call upon him. So she does, because she has to. Now, they meet in up here, basically. They meet wherever this place is, which doesn't really have a home. I call it heaven or the risen place. Because technically speaking, destiny is actually in the sunken place if we're comparing it right. DA and Spectrum actually lift up into the destiny where DA wants to meet Spectrum, or DA wants to meet Spectrum. So Spectrum and them meet, and when they come back down, no longer is Destiny DA. She's just Spectrum. She's just DA. And the thing is, for a while now, DA and Spectrum, Destiny and DA Spectrum are collaborators. But the thing is, we can't forget our team. When Destiny lets Spectrum take over, she becomes DA Spectrum. DA Spectrum is a hero. She is doing what she can to save people. And she does that by being wild and charismatic and manic without care. Because that's what a crazy person is. It's a person that is manic without care. It's more than that, but that's how I look at it. That's what a crazy person is. So, DA floats. She's a floater. She can jump high, she can fly, but most importantly, she can travel back in time. She's gonna travel in the future and the past, but really she's trying to help herself. How do you do that though? How do you do that as a black woman in America? You go and fix Reconstruction, honestly, right? If you have time travel powers, where do you go? The running joke in the black community is that you cannot go into space. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why can't I go to space? No, that's not true. The running joke is that we can't go back in time too far because we're gonna be hurt. So I was trying to figure out a way to do that. Because if I invent a time machine, which I already did, it's called a black box. It is a time capsule that I'm also designing and creating and all this other stuff. So, the Black Box project is a whole other thing. Stay tuned for that video. But that's what Destiny creates. That's what they, as a collaboration, create. Because DA is already an engineer. She's actually a technician. She's a baseline technician. She wants to be an engineer, but she's 22. She's had a lot of falls. She's coming back up. Right? That's her whole thing. So, I actually don't know what I'm looking for anymore. I think I'm looking for my jacket because it's cold in here, but I'm good. So, Spectrum wants to go back. The timeline is real confusing, but it's Reconstruction era is like 1885. From 1865 to like 1900s. my grandparents actually, my great-great-great-great-grandparents, my grandmother's grandfathers and grandparents actually made it out of Reconstruction. They actually were successful in Reconstruction because they did what the government told them to, which is just be sharecroppers. Which sounds bad, but the reality is, and back in the day, sharecropping was a thing. It was just a thing. That's what we did. We sharecropped until we got what we needed. So knowing that we were sharecroppers, knowing that at the end of the day, like, my whole family is built upon struggling people, and I know this because I'm a Black person, and I've been to the house. I've been to several houses that are owned by my family, and they're old houses because they built them themselves, or they bought them basically new. My family is very fortunate to have that ability. They're very fortunate to have a house. Very fortunate to have places that they can stay that's their own property. That is not the case for every American citizen. That's just the facts. Truly, honestly, no matter how I look at it, and honestly, I'm looking at my character. That looks crazy. Look at her. They don't look like it, but she's brown, I promise. Either way, Reconstruction really did define America. That whole era defined America. You wanna know why? Because of how the laws were written. They were written vaguely on purpose because they wanted to make sure that future generations changed it, but they did not care about slavery because they understood that was how we made our money. America doesn't care about slaves. They care about money. That's the thing. Like, yeah, it's about slavery, but at the end of the day, it's about money because we make, Black American Americans have made this country too much money, honestly. If you think about it, like, you know they made a lot of money, but it was free money first. It was free labor first. Now, America has tried to give us reparations and they've never done it successfully because of how the laws are written. That's just facts. That's just facts. It's just true, honest facts. You can Google that. That's information. If you need a good video, go to Knowing Better and watch any of his recent videos about race. Because they really explain it. That's where I learned all this from. Knowing Better. Knowing Better is interesting because he's a teacher. He's a white dude. And he knows his shit because he studies. He studies. That's the point. You guys study. So, I right now am creating a series about superheroes saving sharecroppers because I understand that that's how, in a theoretical universe, we would make it out. That is literally the whole premise of Watchmen. But they don't just time travel. They are in the future and they're doing their thing. That is the difference between anything, honestly. It doesn't matter what happens, it's about how you say it. It's about the actions that you have. That is the power of you. You have to make sure that you understand that and keep that with you. Because literally, you can change the future. You can change the world if you want to, but you can't do that unless you just work for it, right? So I'm done because it's been 20 minutes and I was able to successfully explain this whole jumble of mess. But it's not a jumble of mess. There's more characters coming, but destiny is first because it's my character. Something I created to make myself feel better. For real though. I have so much hair. Look at my hair, y'all. Spectrum is back. My hair's name is Spectra, but like it's non-binary, so it goes between Spectra and Spectrum. And so Spectra today is looking cute. Spectrum is whenever I have my dreads or twists, but when it's out and free, it's Spectra. Spectra be out here, man. Spectra hasn't been this beautiful in a long time. The last time Spectra looked this good was 8th grade, like for real. I remember that. I had the biggest afro. It was probably bigger than this. It was probably the same size because my hair really has just recovered. But either way, thank you for watching. If you did, if you got to the end, make sure you follow me on these links. Look at the links that I've put here because I took time to edit this. Please click something here because I took time this time. I made this video, I took time.